Before Ukraine President Zelenskyy exited the White House after a public showdown with the US President and his deputy, Trump was really keen on a deal with Ukraine for access to the European nation's rare earth and critical minerals. This was to have been a return gift to America for all the help it had extended to Ukraine in its war with Russia. Why did Trump narrow down on this one thing? Why are rare earth minerals so important? Hello and welcome back to Business Matters at the Hindu with me, K. Bharat Kumar. What are rare earth minerals? Rare earth minerals are a set of 17 metals that are used to make magnets that turn power into motion for electric vehicles, missile systems, cell phones, and other electronics. There are apparently no other viable alternatives, according to a recent Reuters article. The US Geological Survey has put out a list of 50 minerals that are seen as critical to America. The European Union has identified 34 minerals as being critical, and Ukraine has deposits of 22 of these. Preparatory to this video, I've been doing some reading on the topic and I haven't come across a more succinctly phrased description of what lies beneath Russia's ambitions in Ukraine. And this was put out by the CIRSD, or the Center for International Relations and Sustainable Development, in the latest issue of its magazine. Russia's calculated focus on resource-rich province of Donetsk, Kherson, Luhansk, and Zaporizhzhia, together with Crimea and the Black Sea, underscores the war's economic and strategic dimensions. These marine areas and border territories, abundant in hydrocarbons and critical minerals such as graphite, lithium, and uranium, are not only pivotal to Ukraine's sovereignty, but also for Europe's energy independence and the competition between the US and China for technological dominance. The Reuters article we referred to earlier also points out that Ukraine has vast deposits of other mineral resources. Some of these are useful in sectors such as defense, high-tech appliances, aerospace, and green energy. According to Ukraine's Institute of Geology, the country possesses rare earth elements such as lanthanum and cerium, used in TVs and lighting, neodymium, used in wind turbines and EV batteries, and erbium and yttrium, whose applications range from nuclear power to lasers. Reuters cites official data to note that Ukraine has one of Europe's largest confirmed reserves of lithium, estimated at 500,000 metric tons. Lithium is used in the making of batteries, ceramics, and glass. Titanium reserves are to be found in northwestern and central Ukraine, while lithium deposits can be found in the center, south, and southeast of the country. Ukraine's reserves of graphite, a key component in electric vehicle batteries and nuclear reactors, represent 20% of global resources. The deposits are in the center and west of Ukraine. Russia, during the course of this war, has occupied at least 2 lithium deposits in Ukraine, one in the eastern region of Donetsk, the other is in Zaporizhzhia in the southeast. Ukraine still controls lithium deposits in the central region of the country. About 40% of Ukraine's metal resources are now under Russian occupation, according to estimates by Ukraine's own think tanks, We Build Ukraine and the National Institute of Strategic Studies, citing data up to the first half of 2024. An important point to note that all of these are references only to deposits in Ukraine. Ukraine does not yet have the capability to extract these minerals and process them. That's one of the big reasons why rare earth minerals are not exactly rare to find, but extracting them and making them ready for use by industry is very difficult. Processing them also has significant environmental impact. The kicker to this whole debate is how reliable are these assessments on the valuation of these reserves. Apparently not very reliable. S&P Global Research has said that all these assessments are several decades old and that there is no known commercial exploration or reassessment of these reserves in the post-Soviet era. Roman Opimak, former Director General of the Ukrainian Geological Survey, told S&P Global's Commodity Insights that unfortunately there is no modern assessment of rare earth reserves in Ukraine. Incidentally, China has scored significantly higher than other countries in terms of building up capacity to process rare earth and other critical minerals. Allegations abound that China has gone easy on environmental rules and hence has been able to gain a monopoly over the supply of processed rare earth minerals. And that's one of the big reasons likely why the US wants access to deposits across the world, including in Greenland, but more on Greenland in the latter part of this video. And as we sit here speaking, China has gained the title of being the world's largest producer of rare earth and critical minerals. And do not forget that Trump has launched another trade war with China in a second stint. TD Economics points out that of all the critical minerals found on Earth, China exerts complete or near complete control in almost 2/3 of all these minerals. China dominates the global industry for the extraction of roughly half of the 50 critical minerals outlined by the US and extends its influence further through the control of global refining capacity for additional critical minerals. Of the 50 minerals identified by the US as critical, 31 of these have extraction and refining, or at least refining capacity, concentrated in China. For the US, China is the primary import source for 21 of these materials. The chart on your screen shows how dependent the US is on China in this sector. Within this group of critical minerals, the 16 rare earth minerals, in addition to arsenic, antimony, and bismuth, have the greatest reliance on China, with more than 60% of US imports of each coming from the Asian country. China has already shown that it will not hesitate to impose restrictions on the export of these minerals to countries that it perceives as working against its own interests. In 2010, after a maritime incident, it imposed export curbs on these minerals in supply to Japan. More recently, it imposed export restrictions on products containing germanium, gallium, antimony, and graphite to the US. Earlier in this video, we promised you a nugget of information on Greenland. Trump is keen on owning Greenland too. Why? For the same reason, access to rare earth deposits, in addition to, of course, defense establishments that will protect the US against Russian ambitions. A Pulitzer Center article says that Greenland holds 10% of global rare earth deposits. Did you know that Trump is not the first American president to have tried to wrench control of Greenland? In 1867, after buying Alaska from Russia, the US tried to gain control of Greenland from Denmark but did not succeed. In 1947, another attempt with a $100 million offer as a prize failed as the Danish government refused. And that brings us to the quiz question for the week. How far away is Greenland from the closest point in North America and from Denmark, which controls the island? And that brings us to the answer for last week's quiz question, which was, where and when did India's first mint under the East India Company come up? In 1756, the Nawab of Bengal attacked and captured Calcutta, and on January 2nd of the next year, Robert Clive took it back. Among the stipulations in the subsequent treaty between the two was the right for the East India Company to have its own mint where gold and silver coins were made. That's all we have for you in this episode, folks. If you enjoyed watching this episode, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And till we meet again, have a lovely week ahead.